All right, guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to look at some data on these line graphs, and we're going to kind of analyze the trends. Basically, what that means is that we are just looking at some data that is plotted. I do not believe we have to plot any data. And what you are going to do is you basically are going to look at it and we're going to answer some questions, okay? So this is the rainfall accumulation for March 4th of 2013. And if you notice over here, we've got rainfall in inches, and then over here we have the time, okay? And it says the line graph below checks rain accumulation measured every half hour during a rainstorm that begins at 2 p.m. and ends at 7 p.m. So I know that we're going to be going every half hour. Well, when I look at this, here's the only difference is between 2 and 3, it's not just one line, it's actually those 3 lines in between. So this right here would be that 30, okay? And what that would mean, let's see here, I think all of them are pretty nice. It's either on the hour or on that 30. If we had to go and look any different at any of the lines in between, it would be that 15 and 45, because that's kind of where that half between 3 and 3:30 is 3:15. Between 3:30 and 4 o'clock is 3:45, but we don't need to worry about it. And it says to use the information on the graph to answer the questions that follow. Now here is my rainfall and I have 1. And so we kind of also have to think about, well, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 marks, that means that this must be in 1/4 of an inch. And I'm actually going to do a half there. So I've got 1/4, 1/2, and then here's 3/4. I have 1/4, 1/2, and then 3/4. And then I've got 1/4 and then 1/2. And it just so it's easier for me to know like where everything is, okay? So this one says how many inches of rain fell during the 5-hour period. So when I look at this, we started at no rain and we went all the way up. So in the 5-hour period, which remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in that 5-hour period, I'm going to go to 7 o'clock and I'm going to take a look and I'm going to come all the way over here, and I had 2 1/4 inches or 2 1/4 inches of rain. Okay. Then it says during which half-hour period did 1/2 an inch of rain fall? So when I look at this, I want to know the 1/2 an inch. And when I look here, 1/2 an inch is like going up 2. So when I look at this, I want to take a look. Well, that's not a 1/2 an inch. This one at 3 o'clock, that did go up that 1/2 an inch, and then it looks like everything else did not quite go a 1/2 an inch. So it fell during which half-hour period did that 1/2 an inch fall? It fell between 2:30 and 3 was when we had that 1/2 an inch. And how did we know? Well, we know because when I see a 1/2 an inch, it's going up these 2, I would call squares. So when I look here, I've gone 1, 2, and that's how I go to that next number here, that the boxes have increased by 2 for lack of better words. And so that's how I know that this has fallen, or the rain has fallen for that 1/2 an inch in that 2:30 to 3 o'clock time. Okay. Then it says during which half-hour period did the rain fall most rapidly? That means probably when did we have like the biggest downfall? And when I'm looking at the graph, I'm just kind of looking to see, you know, this is kind of gradual. Yeah, we had our half here. This is also gradual. We didn't really get any rain. And then all of a sudden here, it really shot up and we had almost, I mean, this was 1, 2, this would be 3/4 of an inch. So almost an inch of rain fell between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. Okay. The reason is because you're kind of looking at the chart and you're basically looking, well, this one really went up those 3 boxes, which is 1/4 of an inch, a 1/2 an inch, and then 3/4 of an inch. So that would be our biggest rainfall that we had rapidly. Then the rest of the evening, it just kind of looks like it started to kind of just taper off a little bit. Why do you think the line is horizontal between 3:30 and 4:30? And I kind of already answered that. If it's horizontal, we just have that we only have 1 inch of rain between 3:30 and 4:30. Does that mean that the rain just was steady at 1 inch? No, it means that no rain fell. Okay, and the reason why we know that is because at 3:30 we had only 1 inch of rain. By the time 4:30 hit, we still only had that 1 inch, so nothing was added to that rain. Okay, and it says for every inch of rain that fell here, a nearby community in the mountains received 1.5 feet of snow. Okay, how many inches of snow fell in the mountain community between 5 and 7? So if I look here, 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock, we had 1 3/4 inches of rain. And at 7 o'clock, we ended with 2 1/4. Okay, so I want to figure out how many inches of rain was that between that 2 3/4 and 1 3/4. Well, what I can do is I can go ahead and subtract it. And of course, I need to kind of scooch the numbers because I need to have that bigger number first. So I'm just going to come up over here so I can do the work. So it's going to be 2 1/4 minus 1 3/4. Can't do 1 minus 3, so I'm going to have to convert this. I'm going to borrow. So here's my 1. And I'm going to add 4/4 because here's that 1 and 2. So now I've got 1 5/4, and I'm going to subtract 1 3/4. And when I do 1 minus 1, it's 0. When I do 5 minus 3, it's going to give me 2/4, or it's just 1/2 inch of rain. So 1/2 inch of rain fell. And it says that for every inch of snow, or every inch that fell here, the mountains received 1.5 feet. So 1.5 feet would not be 1 1/2. I mean, we could say 1.5 feet, but what I would do is I would convert this into an improper fraction, and then I would convert it into inches. So I'm going to say this is going to be 3.5, or sorry, not 3.5, 3/2 feet. But I want to convert this into inches. Okay, so when I convert this into inches, I'm going to multiply this times 12. And I'm going to get, let's see here, 3 times 12 is 36 halves. And I will turn that into that mixed number. So 36 divided by 2 is 18. Okay. And so now what I want to do is I know that it had 18 inches of snow. That if I know that this is what happens here, I want to know how many inches would end up falling in the snow. So I'm going to multiply that 1.5 inches by 18 inches. And in the mountain, they get 9 inches of snow instead of 1/2 inch of rain. Okay, so a lot of conversion, but it is something I know that you guys can do.